Epic Gaming Night is sponsored by Tasty Minstrel Games. Make sure to check out the Tasty Minstrel podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. This podcast is made possible by the support of patrons like you. Thanks for your support. Welcome to the Epic Gaming Night podcast, a podcast about the stories and relationships board games create. I'm your host, Roy Candidate, and with me as always is Rob.
Hello, everybody.
Hype! So today we actually have the chat for the live stream that you can actually see on the video. So now people might be able to, if you're watching it on the YouTube channel, people might be able to follow the conversation that everybody's having in chat as well.
Oh, how cool is that?
Hype. And we're also going to be giving away some Epic Gaming Night and Favorite Game Friday dice to someone who participates in chat today. So if you would like an opportunity to get some Epic Gaming Night or Favorite Game Friday dice, make sure to hit us up on our live feed while we're chatting on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Time at youtube.com/Epic Gaming Night. How's things going, Rob?
Things are going great. Sorry, I'm just I'm already talking with a lot of people in chat, and I'm excited to do so. I want to talk about Stranger Things. I've watched the second season again twice now.
Oh, holy smokes! You watched it again?
Oh yeah, see if I could.
Did you see that there's a Beyond Stranger Things video where it's all like behind the scenes? We're talking with all the cast.
Yeah,
I was about to say I don't think there's any way you could have missed that if you're watching the season twice.
Yeah, I am. I'm addicted. I followed all the characters on Instagram and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I feel a little weird. But yeah, no, everything is going well.
Stranger Things was awesome. The worst part about it is that Hasbro has the license to the board games, and they're making terrible games with it. Nobody wants Ego Uno. Get out of here, Hasbro.
Yeah, no, I wish somebody else could get that IP. But on a side note, Matt is not feeling so well tonight, so that is why we're missing Matt. So everybody just, poor Matt.
We'll miss you, Matt.
So anyway.
Awesome. Well, our topic for tonight is going to be about
Stranger
Things gaming.
Bro, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, for sure. But before we do that, we've got just one thing in the news. I wanted to remind everybody about the Jack Vassell Memorial Auction, which is going on right now. There are tons of different items that people can bid on, and all the proceeds go to help gamers in need, from people who have medical bills that they can't afford, or funeral expenses they can't afford, or their house burns down. There's all sorts of testimonies of how this fund has helped out people in the board gaming community. So yeah, just make sure to go over there and check it out. I have a couple things on there where you can play Twilight Imperium 4 with me and Sam Healy and the Board Game Blitz girls. And I also am auctioning off my copy of Dune because that game is very rare, but I figured that it would go to a good cause to help raise money. But there's tons and tons of other things on there that people are doing to raise money for the Jack Vassell Memorial Fund, so make sure to check that out. Hype!
Yes, check that stuff out.
Do you have any other news that you've seen that you want to throw in, or?
I could do my regular.
We know Joan of Arc's amazing. We know you're excited about it.
Okay, yeah, Darth Vader. Side note: the soundtrack for Stranger Things, whether it's the soundtrack with the like the original score or screenplay soundtrack, is great, but also the soundtrack with just the music, the songs that they picked out from the air is also fantastic. But on a side note, so Joan of Arc, the Kickstarter, man, they just released their last bundle package deal, the last item that I was waiting on, and it's like a War of the Undead. It's like a holy war between angels and demons. And they already had a little bit of stuff out, but now they have a ton of stuff out. I'm really excited because the pledge level that I picked is going to cover pretty much all of that stuff, except for like the RPG mode and some extra dice and stuff like that. But the game looks absolutely amazing. I'm really excited for it. I've talked plenty about Time of Legends, Joan of Arc. So if you guys have not checked it out, I feel like it's by far the best deal on Kickstarter I've ever gotten. I'm not saying it's the best game, but by far the best deal I've ever gotten on Kickstarter. But there's another Kickstarter that recently has come out that has my attention. I really don't know a lot about it, but if anybody in chat knows about this,
which one is it?
It's called Monster Slaughter by Ankama Board Games.
I don't think I've seen that one yet.
Ankama. I don't know if it's Ankama or Ankama Board Games. It's Ankama. It is where you are a head or a family of monsters, and you are trying to kill or destroy, if kill is too much. But you're like 1980s horror film with Monster Slaughter, a board game with miniatures, as you are the head of a family of monsters, werewolves, vampires, zombies, or golems. It is your turn to hunt down and slay the insufferable college kids holed up in a cabin in the woods. The hardest part? Deciding which order they should die, then sticking with it. I like it because, one, it looks really cheesy. So that's a lot of fun to me. Two, the board, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Ice Cool. You know how the box turns into the board? So it looks like that a little bit, where you take off the top of the box, underneath you have a cabin. And
I think I saw pictures of this. It looks pretty cool.
It does look really cool. I'm excited for it. The only problem is I'm spending a lot of money on Joan of Arc. And so we'll see. It's still really early into the Kickstarter. There's still 22 days left on it.
You were texting me about getting Elves and Rune Wars. I'm like, are you insane? How can you play another faction?
Well, I don't know, man. The Elves, they seem to have done really well in the World Championship.
Yeah, but that was before Crossbowmen or the Death Knights were added in. So
yeah, but anyway, we'll see. We'll see. I'm really into that game, and we'll talk about that game here shortly. For those that don't know, we're talking about Rune Wars.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, Monster Slaughter. Look, check it out. If anybody in chat has looked at it before, Tim in chat is saying he saw it at Gen Con, watched a demo of it.
I haven't seen Tim posting it everywhere, so he must not be that excited about it, because Tim just posts spams about a game that he's excited about.
Ben Grossman, first of all, I appreciate it. I will not sell this Kickstarter.
Sell Joan of Arc as soon as it comes in.
Here's the reason. Like, I sold other Kickstarters because I had similar games like that came in like a month or two afterwards, that I thought, having already played or demoed them at cons, were better than the game that I ordered. So I went heavy on both of the Kickstarters. And what I'm talking about is Massive Darkness. I think that's the only Kickstarter that I've sold. I'm already a huge Zombicide fan. I own everything Zombicide except for a couple of specialty characters. I mean, I'm well into $1,000 over Zombicide.
Yeah.
Big investment. And then then Massive Darkness came out at Kickstarter, and then their next campaign was Zombicide Green Horde. And I was thinking about backing Zombicide Green Horde, but then all of a sudden they started to come out with the Stranger Things characters.
And the giant dragons.
And I was like, okay, 11 with Egos in her hand is.
Man, we're gonna have to play that when it comes in. That's gonna be ridiculous.
Yes, and the huge dragons. So that is why I went ahead and sold my Massive Darkness, because here's the thing. I want to play the games that I own. I really do want to play them. Yeah. And if I had to choose between Zombicide or Massive Darkness, I'd rather play Zombicide. I already like it.
I'm in the same boat after playing Massive Darkness.
We demoed Massive Darkness at Cool Mini or Not Con. It was a fun game.
I was hoping it was going to be a little bit more than it was.
Well, and we played a very generic demo. It wasn't even actual the demo. It was a scenario that the demoers made up on the fly, because there's a lot going on with Massive Darkness. And also, when we played it, we were playing it like at midnight. The demoers were tired. In fact, the guys that were teaching us the demos had already like shut down for the night, and they were just showing us some stuff. So anyway, it's fun. It's a good game. If you got it, I think you're going to enjoy it. I'm already regretting that I sold it, but I won't regret that once in 2021 when my order of Zombie 2021 comes in. So anyway, yes. So I understand, for those that want to give me a hard time, I deserve it. but I'm still putting money into the industry. I'm still buying board games. I'm still selling board games, and I use the money that I sold those for
to buy more board games.
To buy more board games. Like I took the money that I sold from that, and I backed A Song of Ice and Fire.
He didn't pay
Vegas
bills.
Wits and Wagers, and I backed Unstable Unicorns. And so I took that one game, and I pretty much spent all of that on Song of Ice and Fire, and then I just paid myself for Vegas Wits and Wagers and Unstable Unicorns.
Nice.
And out times of it, because I went pretty heavy in Song of Ice and Fire as well.
Cool. I also wanted to shout out Downfall is about to end on Kickstarter. That is the post-apocalyptic 4X game from Tasty Minstrel Games. So make sure to check that out before it ends. It's pretty brutal. So if you want a game where it feels like you're in the post-apocalypse, make sure to check it out. I'm excited to see the full and final version of it with all the miniatures of the airships and things like that. So make sure to check that out on Kickstarter from Tasty Minstrel. Hype. Awesome. Well, I guess, do we want to talk about what we've been playing?
Yeah, you can go first.
Hype. I got a chance to play an older drafting game, probably one of the most well-known drafting games. I went down to 3 Blind Dice and went to the Winston-Salem Gamers Guild meetup and got into a game of Seven Wonders. And I haven't played Seven Wonders in forever. I played Seven Wonders Duel a few times with Trevor not recently, it's been a while back, but I've played that more recently than I played Seven Wonders. It's been a really long time since I've played it. And it's a cool little drafting game. Most people know what Seven Wonders is. It's a Civ game where you're drafting cards and getting resources to build your different things, and you're trying to build wonders and get points and make it so your neighbors aren't beating you up in war every round, and basically whoever gets the most science wins in the base set. Every single time I've seen this game played, somebody just passes one player all the science, and they just run away with the game. That's pretty much what happened here. Me and the player to my left, he was new, and I'd only played the game a couple times. I mean, I know the game, but I hadn't played it nearly as much as the rest of the people there. And me and him just got into a fight of just trying to build up our war more and more, so that way we weren't hurting each other on the war. Well, we were hurting each other, but we were just going back and forth hurting each other. So we ended up taking each other both out of the running for the game. But it was still a lot of fun. It's a quick drafting game, Seven Wonders. It's a classic, basically. You know, have you ever played Seven Wonders, Rob?
I have not.
I think you and Matt would actually enjoy it a lot, since you enjoyed drafting.
Yeah, I saw the post that you put down on Instagram, and I was wondering about it. I know a lot of people like it.
Yeah.
I was looking at Seven Wonders duels for a while. I think I owned it.
That's a really good 2-player game too.
But yeah, never played it. Just, I don't know. I like minis. But if I were to play it now, I think I would like it because, what you said about the draft.
Yeah, it's basically like you draft resources, and then you draft other cards that you play off of those resources that you got, and then you get points off of them. It's like way more complicated than Sushi Go, but different, like a lot different than Blood Rage, because Blood Rage is obviously area control, and you're doing lots of different stuff with the cards you draft. In this one, it's really quick, because you just do that drafting phase 3 times, and the game's done. So that's another good thing, is there's no downtime in Seven Wonders. So, but everybody knows about that game. Everybody. Do you have one you want to talk about, Rob?
I will talk about. Sorry, I was reading some of the chat stuff. Yes, Tim, I want to play Blood Rage. I haven't played Blood Rage in a little bit, and I also want to play Blood Rage because I saw Thor Ragnarok, which everybody needs to go see it, especially if you're a Marvel fan. It's absolutely hilarious. I would say for me personally, for my humor, it was funnier than Guardians of the Galaxy 1 or 2. Just absolutely loved it. Great movie. And so after I saw that, which it's Thor Ragnarok, so I'm not spoiling anything there, but Blood Rage has a Ragnarok that's happening in Blood Rage. So I really want to play Blood Rage, but Roy and I have been on a little kick of playing Rune Wars, and it's starting to get into my system, and it's kind of scary because, like Roy was talking about earlier, I'm like, man, I should get this, and I want to get that, and he's like, don't do it, and I'm like, be quiet, let me get it. So anyway,
I was just saying, focus on one faction. So that faction's really good.
It is a good faction. I do like that faction. But anyway, it's a lot of fun for those that haven't played Rune Wars. It is a miniatures war game out there by Fantasy Flight Games. and you are, it's a 1v1 or 2v2, however you want to do it. And I know we're going to talk about it more with our topic that we're talking about tonight, so I don't want to get too much into it. But it's a lot of fun. Not the best minis out there, but
Rob's combo in our game worked pretty good. Worked pretty good against me.
I did not expect it to work as well as it was going to work.
I was hoping that it wasn't going to, but it was. I think I just walked right into it, even though I knew it was happening. I still walked right into it.
Yeah.
So, Rob basically set all his guys up in a line and made them shoot fireballs at my people from afar, and basically I have the undead, so they're like shambling and very slow. So they're slowly running across the battlefield, just getting fireballed to death as they try to run up to Rob's characters.
Well, and then also once my guys charged, because I had Lord Hawthorne out there, aka Jerry Hawthorne, they do a lot of brutal damage, and I actually rolled pretty decently. I didn't have the epic rolls that Roy had last time we played, but I was hitting every single round. Every single time we connected, I think on every single roll except for one fire rune or, every single time I hit.
That's the interesting thing about that game is I feel like there's a lot of like times when you're building your list and you can be like, okay, well, if he's playing this and I play this, it'll kind of counteract what he's doing there. But then if like I tried to make a list to counteract what you were doing in our last game and you brought something completely different, it wouldn't work the same as counteracting that. So there's a lot of different ways you can build in that game. And I feel like the system is pretty elegant. I've actually been enjoying it a lot.
I really enjoy it, and again, I think it's going to be one of those things that we are going to talk about later on in the episode and stuff like that. I took advantage of some things. I went in with kind of like a mean strategy. My strategy was just to kind of sit back and watch and let you come to me, and you made a couple mistakes up front, like you put one of your big heavy hitters out there alone, and then it was like you did something terrible to him. You rushed him out there, and then the rest of your army just kind of stood back. So all of my army
shot at him.
And
I also didn't realize that everybody had range, which was pretty tricky.
Well, and I didn't tell you. And so Roy had more units than me. It's because I spent more points on cards. And so it worked. It worked out. And the other mistake you made was with your archers, not moving them up and stuff like that. But I mean, I thought you did a great job.
You're like, keep it up. Keep doing that.
Yeah.
I still had fun. Like, even when I lose this game, I still have fun, and I feel like I'm slowly
games
learning
like that,
how to
absolutely.
maneuver properly. I feel like I do a terrible job of maneuvering half the time. So
No, games like that, especially games that involve dice, like I don't get as upset because there is luck and stuff that comes into it. Just like the time before when you beat me. Not that you weren't going to win already. I don't know, but man, this like in 2 rounds, you killed off half of my army, and your dice rolls were ridiculous. I mean, you did the firebound thing and took off 2 full trays of men. And for anybody that knows or plays miniature games, 2 full trays, that's a lot of men.
It was one like little guy roll. Half of your unit there.
It was ridiculous. And so it's part of the game. But anyway, it's a blast. I just saw this Kids on Bikes RPG that everyone's talking about. I may have to back this. It's not that expensive. It looks... I don't know, man.
They look exactly
what
like
are
what
you guys
want?
Backing? I am not doing the $500 pledge. I'll probably do like the $35 pledge. Oh, man. And
the $500 pledge better come with a bike.
Right?
Even a kid on a bike.
That is awesome.
Awesome.
That is awesome.
Well, another game that I got a chance to play, I did a solo game of one of the scenarios for the Arkham Horror card game, and I really enjoyed the story in that game.
You play that a lot solo.
Yeah,
well, that got to be like your favorite solo game right now?
I mean, it's also one of my favorite card games. Like, it's cooperative. I mean, but I'm playing against the game itself, obviously. But it's awesome because you build your deck when you start, and then as you slowly like go through the scenario, you get experience points, so that way you can level up your deck a little bit. And as you get the different scenario packs, you get more investigator cards, so that way you have more cards to use for those experience points to put better cards in your deck. And I played a scenario where I had to go and fight tons of gigantic monsters, But normally that would just wreck me in a game because my character is very much like knowledge based and has a couple of spells. But these monsters could only be beaten by spells, and basically the stats I needed to use, like I was set up to fight against these things, and I was having a lot of fun just running around blasting freaking the Dunwich Horror back and forth across the board. It was pretty awesome, and it's very thematic and very story driven, and it keeps track of a lot of the things that happen in previous scenarios and calls back to them in the setup and during the game for other scenarios. It'll be a card will come up and it'll be like, hey, do you have this card in your deck? If you do, pull that card out of your deck and put it into play. And it'll be like a card that you got in a future scenario that you could have not gotten if you went a different way on the path. And then there's certain parts where you have to try to save different characters, and it'll call back and ask like, hey, how many of these characters did you save? Did you save this specific character? And things like that. So you're trying to keep people alive, and it keeps track of that. And then it also keeps track of the special items you find. And there's lots of exciting stuff in this game. It's definitely super interesting. And I feel like there's a decent amount of replayability going back through, because there's multiples of each of the locations that you don't actually use. There's branching paths that you don't go on each one. So you could replay this game with different people or just play through it again solo and go a little bit different and unlock some different stuff. So, and since it's one of those LCGs, it stings because it's like, man, it's really hard to keep up with all the new stuff that's coming out. But since it's cooperative, it doesn't really matter that much, because you can just I'm a few packs behind, and whenever I complete a scenario, I'll just, after a little while, when I feel in the mood, I'll buy a new one and just play that one, and then after I complete it, I'll buy a new one and play that one. So I don't have to like keep up with any crazy meta or what everybody else is doing. I can just play the game on my own terms. So if you haven't checked it out, make sure to check out the Arkham Horror LCG. It's a great cooperative / solo game. I'd really like to play it a lot more 2 players. I know I got you and Matt the stuff for the core set, but I don't think you guys have messed with it like at all or looked at it that much. So I can't hear you, Rob. There you go.
I may have not touched it.
It's pretty fun, and the artwork's great too. But it's got that, of course, the normal Eldritch Horror, Arkham Horror art stuff. But it's awesome. A lot of the art in that game's done by Henning Ludvigsen, which is a guest that we had on the show like forever ago. But it's always funny whenever I tweet or post on Instagram about games that he's done the art for. He always likes it, and I'm like, oh, he did the art in this game. Like he did the board for Blood Rage, and he did tons of the Fantasy Flight artwork. So I didn't even realize how much stuff he had done when we had him on the show forever ago.
Didn't we have Jonathan Gilmour on our show?
Yes, we had Jonathan Gilmour on our show.
He's with Infectious Play, or is this a side?
He's like freelance, so he does stuff with all sorts of companies. I know he's done stuff with
Jonathan Gilmour. He's the one who's doing this Kids on Bikes thing.
Oh, really? He's all over the place.
Man, that's awesome. All right. I mean, I backed it.
Yeah, he's friend of the show.
And it's only $35.
Awesome.
Well, you can get the paperback version for $20. Sorry. I just get really excited about chat, and Tim, again, is also talking about Blood Rage.
Hype.
Which, it wouldn't be chat with Tim if Blood Rage was not mentioned at least 4 times.
Awesome. Well, do we want to go ahead and get into our topic for the night?
Let's do this, man. I'm excited. I'm pumped.
Awesome. Well, our topic tonight is going to be wargaming of all different sorts. So how do you feel about war games, Rob?
Love it. I love it. Those were the games I played early on as a kid. Mm-hmm. Now, not like the big miniature war games. Like I played a lot of Risk and Risk style games, or computer real-time strategy games, or Axis and Allies and stuff like that. But I love war games. I love my army versus your army, one-on-one. Let's go for it. Let's see who's better. Let's see what mistakes I make and what I can learn from them and stuff like that. So, huge fan of war games.
For sure. My dad played a ton of the old school ones as you're growing up. I played a little bit of Risk, and I know I played like the old like War of the Ring, like super old. But I never like played the actual like historical themed war games growing up, which seems kind of crazy to me because I don't know if I just had no interest or my dad just didn't push his interests of that onto me. But I've never really been into like the historical type stuff. Maybe it's just
I love them all.
too real.
It could be anything: fantasy, sci-fi, historical.
Yeah, I've definitely always been about the like fantasy style stuff for the different types of war games and stuff like that. So, I don't know that I played any like sci-fi-ish ones. I remember seeing Risk 2010 back when it first came out and being like, oh man, that looks really cool. You can colonize the moon. That's crazy. But I never actually got a chance to play that one. So, but I remember thinking it looked really awesome. Have you ever played any of the like paper map and chit war games with like the little cardboard tokens, like super old school stuff?
No. Nope. They did not. If they didn't have miniatures when I was a kid, I did not play them.
Nice.
And a lot of the war games that I play now are because of miniatures and stuff like that.
I feel like that stuff was like a generation before us, you know? Like that's a lot of where some gaming like came
That's
from
like what
back
like
in
our
the game.
dads, like your dad. That's
My
like
dad
what
is
our dads
all about it.
and them played. That's
he
like from
has-
the
he has
60s,
tons
70s,
of it.
80s.
He has Civil War ones. He has cowboys and stuff, and he has all the like war stuff and like crazy amounts of stuff. He actually currently plays some of these games over the phone with my uncle. Like they both have the same game. They set up the map and the troops where they're all supposed to be for their starting setup, and they'll tell each other their moves as they play over the phone. Like that's hardcore.
awesome.
That's hardcore. I know that there's people that back in the day, like they didn't have the internet, people would actually play war games like that by mail. Can you imagine that? Like literally writing a letter saying what your move is, mailing it to somebody, and leaving the game set up. And then they mail back their move to you.
Yeah, I know people that did that for chess,
That's
which is also a huge
crazy.
war game. Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, I've played games over like AOL Instant Messenger before. I used to play Redemption over AOL Instant Messenger and be like, all right, man, I play Son of God in New Jerusalem and take the 2 lost souls you were trying to win.
Bro, I hate that. I mean, I love it, but yeah. I always like, whenever I started playing that game, I was like, all right, 2 of my souls are already gone because of that card. I need to defend against 3.
Yep. Good times. But yeah, it's interesting how people used to play these games back in the day, like asynchronously over the mail, which is insane. But yeah, there's tons of different like old school ones, and I'm not as well educated on them as
I would say
people
some
would
of the
be.
good old school games, and maybe it's not old school, but a good intro war game, and it's one that we're talking about in chat right now, is Memoir 44.
Yeah.
It is an older game, and the components and everything are pretty simplistic, but it offers a lot to the game. That's a great war game when in an older game. Like that's as old as I would want to go for like chits and stuff like that. Like even Axis and Allies, I have the 1980, is it the 88 or 83 edition? And I have newer editions, but they still had the minis and stuff then. And then in Memoir 44 wasn't out then, but still, yeah, I would never want to do paper. I would want to do like Memoir 44 style and up.
Gotcha.
Little army men, you know, being a 10-year-old again, playing in my backyard. So
do you enjoy head-to-head conflict in games?
Absolutely. I love it. It's one of those things where I like it because I try to learn from it. I also like it because it gives me an understanding of where I am as a gamer on that game. I also like it because it's just like I don't have to worry about anybody else. It's me versus Roy, or it's me versus Tim, or it's me versus Adam or somebody. Like I like it where I know who my opponent is, and then also I can try to play my opponent based off of who they are as a person and their emotions and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So
I definitely enjoy like conflict in games. I don't know why. Like for some reason, I'm just drawn to the games where you're actually fighting things, whether you're fighting your opponents. Like even in cooperative games, all the cooperative games that I really like still have like conflict and you're fighting something. You know?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I guess it's the need to. I mean, I grew up with Lord of the Rings and like the Battle of Helm's Deep and the Battle of Gondor with these giant walls and all sorts of craziness fighting each other off there. I guess just the feeling of like wanting to be the hero, leading the army in a charge, and like there may be a day when the strength of men fails, but it is not this day, and like raising your sword up and taking out your opponent. You know?
Oh yeah. See, I like it because to me. It's the simplest, but also one of the most satisfying forms of victory. Mm-hmm. Like there are other games where you can play where you may build a better mechanism than somebody else, and so you're able to output things more, and you win because you get to 10 gold cubes faster or something like that. And those are fun, but the idea of absolute domination, or maybe not even absolute, maybe it's like a nail biter, but to be the last one on the map. It's such a simple and yet satisfying, not nostalgia, but it's just, to me, it's one of those highs that I like as a gamer, to know, like almost like Highlander, like there can be only one. Like I love that. Like even when we were playing Rune Wars last week, you were all worried. Well, you weren't worried about it, but you're like, "Hey, what objective are you going to pick out?" And I was like, "I don't care. I'm just going to kill all of you. Like, I don't care." And I picked out an objective, but I say that like all the time. Like my goal is to wipe Roy off the map, and so like, yeah, like I don't know. It's so nice when my enemy is no longer there. It's fulfillment.
So why do you think some people are opposed to head-to-head conflict in games or direct conflict against other players?
Why do I think people are opposed to it?
Yeah, because there's a lot of people out there that don't like games where you're directly affecting each other sometimes, and I guess it stresses them out or rubs them the wrong way if someone's specifically attacking their character or whatever. It gets emotional for them, you know.
You answer first, and then I'll answer. But let me think on that.
I don't know. I feel like there's people out there that are in some ways opposed to the violence or whatever, and they just want things to be peaceful and happy, and they don't want people coming in and messing up their engine or messing up their plans, and they want to be able to do everything without the conflict from other people. Just they don't enjoy that sort of thing. It stresses them out. And I also know sometimes people are like really competitive, and if people pick on you when you're really competitive in a game like that, people like cannot take it very well if there's a whole lot of conflict directed at them, you know. But you know, it's just a game. It's fun. I mean,
yeah,
you get it from the table. It's like, oh man, you smashed me. That was fun. Learn from your mistakes and try to do better next time, you know. So, what do you think?
See, okay, this is gonna sound kind of mean and some other stuff like that.
You're like, they're wimps.
Well, first and simple answer, I think some people avoid that because they don't like confrontation. Mm-hmm. So they don't want to do one-on-one matches because they'd rather just not have a confrontation of that style. Yeah. And I know a lot of people that don't like confrontation, and they'd rather play maybe a co-op game or something like that where they just where they don't like confrontation. Another thing is there's some people that don't like it because, and I'm glad that they're able to recognize it, but they're not good losers.
Yeah.
You know, it's tough when you get beaten by somebody and you are removed from the board. I mean, that's a big deal. And so I think some people don't handle it that well. And then three, I would agree with, I think with what you first said. I don't think some people are up for the violence.
Yeah. It's it's kind of interesting because like there's all these American war games, and like that's what like America's known for, the war games. Like we won the wars and we made all these war games, and all the German games, the games that came out of Germany, are all about farming and peaceful stuff, and they also are like very opposed to like violence in their video games. I feel like they've gotten a lot more lax on that sort of stuff, but like after the wars they were like, no more violence because this leads to bad things. It can lead us to nowhere good. We just need to be calm and peaceful and not be confrontational with other people. And I feel like maybe some of like the state of the world kind of like led to some of those different game types on different sides of the map, you know? What do you think about that? You're like, you said it.
Yeah.
It's definitely very interesting because like all the American games are like the first-person shooters and all the crazy stuff like that. A lot of that stuff was frowned upon or like banned in Germany for like a long time, and they're just now starting to get a little bit more on board.
Yeah, but that was also banned from Germany and for other reasons.
Yeah.
You know, it's not that just Americans are more violent or anything like that. Americans are violent, but I've also lived elsewhere, and they're pretty violent there too.
Yeah.
It's just another thing. News organizations don't also portray everything that's going on as much as what our news organizations do. I don't know. See, now I'm feeling kind of guilty for liking war games, but at the same time, I don't feel guilty. For me, it's one of those things where I don't see the violent as me killing Roy.
Yeah.
I see the violence as a way of me eradicating the opposition from my goal. Now, I don't believe I'm the type of person. Yeah, I don't believe I'm the type of person that would do that in real life unless somebody tried to hurt my children. Then I would probably hurt some people if they try to hurt my children. But
yeah, in real life, I am an extremely non-confrontational person. But when I play a game, it's fun to like have your little guys on the board and roll some dice to do attacks and like run up there and try to maneuver properly to do the correct tactics to be able to take out the opponent. Or if I'm playing a game like Blood Rage or whatever, where there's confrontation where you can attack each other, like trying to do sneaky moves and kill off my own guys to take their rage and things like that, or try to make sure my guys are controlling the correct area and things like that. I don't know. There's a lot of direct conflict and making sure I win the battle that I need to win. You know, there's a lot of
I like the direct conflict. I like the stress.
I like it. It's enjoyable.
Yeah, I like being put in those situations of what would you choose? You got to make a quick decision. Now, for me, a quick decision is a quick decision. I'm not one of those gamers that takes 5 minutes to make up my mind. I already pretty much know what I'm going to do. So anyway, yeah, I like all that stuff.
Awesome.
I do well, and I always score high at like stress tests and other things like that. I don't know how you do with that, but yeah, I like it.
Awesome. So, what are some of your favorite conflict resolution mechanisms?
Okay, there are a couple.
I had a bunch.
All right. Well, we'll probably have a couple crossovers.
Mm-hmm.
One, I really like the whole bidding aspect of, like, we saw this in Rex. Mm-hmm. You see this in Game of Thrones and some other war games where you bid how much of your resources you're willing to sacrifice to be able to get the victory. And
they have that in Tiny Epic Kingdoms and also in Cry Havoc. Cry Havoc is a lot more unique as far as like, because there's this board.
Play that, man. But yeah, that's one that I'll start off by saying, what's one that you like?
Yeah, I love that one as well, with the whole bidding and trying to like, you have a set number of resources and you're trying to outthink your opponent. I really love this is also in Game of Thrones and in Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, like deterministic combat where you know the strength of your units, but then you have these cards in your hand that you play that boosts that. So there's like the house cards in Game of Thrones. If you play the game a lot, you can know which house cards your opponent has, and then you're just trying to outthink, like, is he going to play Tyrion and like mess everything up and like switch it around, or should I play my high cost card now? Will it be a waste, or do I need to save it for a different battle? It's the same sort of thing in Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, where you have a deterministic number, like I have 5 strength, he has 6 strength, and there's cards that are very like paper, rock, scissors, how they work against each other. Like,
Yeah.
I'll have one card that gets a bonus if they play this specific other card. But each of those cards costs a certain number of resources, so you can kind of know what cards your opponent's going to be able to play. So you can try to think, what are they going to play? And if you figure that out and you play the correct counter, you can get a bunch of extra strength on that. And I've actually done pretty okay majority of the times that I played Hero of Land, Air, and Sea by winning a lot of these combats, by figuring out what my opponent's going to play based on the board state, and just like they probably have an option in between these couple different cards. Which one are they most likely to play? And I really enjoy that deterministic but card combat where you're actually trying to outthink your opponent. But yeah, what's another one, Rob, that you can think of?
One of my favorites, if not my favorite, I just absolutely love Game of Thrones, blind, turn order. It's not turn order, but
to figure out the marching when you're going to jump on people.
Yes, like, hey, I'm not doing this. You know, I guess you could say I really like Game of Thrones. Man, I'm trying to think of the word. It's not diplomacy, but it's sort of like the treachery of Game of Thrones, where it's like, hey, man, no, we're friends. I'm marching, yeah, but I'm not marching on you. I'm marching over there to get ready for that. But I'm totally marching on you. Like, I absolutely love that about the game, where it really just brings out the jerk in everybody that plays. Because if it doesn't, then you're not going to win. Like, you can't be everybody's friend in that game and be successful.
For sure.
And so that's one of my favorite things, is like just like the trust issues, the anxiety that it brings along.
I think that originated from diplomacy itself. So I've never actually played diplomacy, but I know like everybody writes down their orders, what they're doing, and people can lie about what they're doing and stuff like that, like where all their guys are moving on the map. I think Game of Thrones like streamlined that with all the tokens and stuff like that. So
yeah,
but yeah. Another one for me that I haven't got as much experience in, but we were talking about it a little bit, with the Cry Havoc, where you have this board that has different actions where you can take, but this, I think they've taken it and made it even better in Rising Sun. We have a board that has several different actions on it that you're bidding on each of these actions. And then they play out in sequence, and whoever wins those different things determines like the outcome of battle. Like, there's one where you can kill off your own guys to get points. So if you bid the highest on that, your guys just die and you get points for them. So if you know you're going to lose, you can do that to get rid of your guys and get points. And then there's ones where you can bid to add in Ronin, so there's special Ronin tokens you can get, and if you add those guys in, you can collect a lot of them during the game, but if you don't win the bid on that, then the Ronin aren't going to help you out. So if you bid high enough, you're able to bring those guys in and get extra strength, because it's very deterministic combat as well. You like have specific numbers of units, and you're like, okay, well, I'm at 6 and he's at 7, I only need one more point. How am I going to min-max this to make things happen? Then I think there's one where you like capture guys, and there's one where you can like claim points if you win. Tim probably knows more than me. I've only played the demo of the game, but
Tim doesn't know anything.
He has I keep telling him he needs to come up here and teach us how to play Rising Sun, but
that'd be awesome.
He said Savannah's too far away. No, I'm just kidding.
Savannah, the most haunted city in the United States.
Nice.
I'll say last for me, dice chucking.
Yep.
Absolutely love dice chucking. I know it's not really a war game. It's more than just dice chucking, but Champions of Midgard,
there's
especially
so many
with the expansions.
Yeah.
I love the
that
dice
conflict
chucking.
resolution.
I love that conflict resolution.
Yeah.
One, especially if I'm going on an adventure, am I going to have enough dice when I get there to be able to do what I need to do? You know, depending if I pass or fail, or if I lose food and I got to lose dice, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But I just love dice. I absolutely love dice. That's one of the reasons why area control and war games are one of my favorites.
There's so many different ways that people have used dice for conflict.
So many different ways.
And I love so many of them as well.
Oh, yeah. My numbers beat your numbers.
There's ones that are like grids based off of your defense. There's ones where you're needing special icons. There's attack dice versus defense dice. There's I love the Rune Wars like multiplier of the damage symbol thing, and you're getting rerolls based off of different stuff. It's just so many different ways that you can do conflict resolution with dice. and the best ones are when you have ways to mitigate that, and make it work in your favor, which is awesome.
Super awesome.
Cool. So why, I think we kind of already talked about this, but why do you think we are drawn to conflict resolution or conflict driven games?
This can sound, it may not sound weird or whatever. I think I'm drawn to it because it's not who I am.
Yeah.
It's one of those things of like exploring something that is not who I am. I mean, if you met me in real life, I'm more of a teddy bear than I am anything else, rather than like an angry grizzly bear or something like that. And so it's just the idea. That's one of the reasons why I like video games and stuff like that. It's escaping from my reality. It's an escaping from the norm to try to experience something else. And I'm never gonna, command nations and conquer other nations, or at least not yet. Don't say never. But I'm not in that position in my life where I'm going to do something like that. And so I just really enjoy everything that goes with it. And then the idea that I can do that, and then I can put it away and, like not have to deal with the consequences of what just happened on the board. That I can experience a turmoil and the anguish or the victory that comes with it, and then I can turn it away and then come back and still be a halfway decent guy and a halfway decent dad and husband and stuff like that. So for me, it's just going outside of who I am and being somebody else for a little bit.
Yeah. I think for me it's fun to have that opportunity to be the hero or whatever, and like slay the bad guys or the opposition or whatever. I mean, I grew up with Lord of the Rings. I grew up playing role-playing games where like the main mechanism is you're running around fighting off other creatures and crazy stuff. I played Game World, so it was all super weird mutant things we were fighting most of the time. But it's just fun to, like, if you don't have the conflict or the battles, like, for me, a lot of times it feels kind of like mundane. I don't know. Like, if I'm not, like, I don't know, like farming and not getting enough points, or not getting my train routes built properly so I don't collect the right amount of stocks, or things like that don't give me the same thrill as running guys across the battlefield and getting them in the right position to be able to take out the opposition, or even playing other games where it's like, oh man, this crazy monster ran out at us, we gotta like fight him off.
The consequences of a Euro game don't terrify me as much.
Every single game in my top 10 has like conflict. Like every single one of them has some sort of like attacking and fighting something, whether it's Mansions of Madness where there's creatures running at you, or Xia where you're blowing up other ships, or Twilight Imperium is obviously heavily conflict where you're just building up your empire and attacking other nations. I don't know, it makes it very exciting.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I just it is the consequences of those decisions. Like, I don't feel bad if my power plant only produces 7 energy and yours produces 9. I feel good as a salesman. Well, I'll still make as much money with my power plant as you will with your power plant in real life. Like, I don't know. Like, it's not super exciting to me. Those games are exciting to me when I play with people that I find to be exciting. Yeah. Like I like a Euro game because of the people that I'm playing the game with, not so much just the game. And so,
I mean, it's fun to play around with the mechanisms, but majority of the time, that's all it feels like to me is like, okay, here's some mechanisms.
That's exactly right. I'm trying this. Okay, this is cute, or at least give me something that has some type of adventure or some type of like hard decision, like one that's kind of a Euro-y, but it's not. Courts, I really like courts. The blind drawing out of the bag and stuff like that. Like, there's consequences.
Pressure
like
luck.
You could, I like the more pressure luck type of thing, because it's the same thing with a war game. you could press your luck and try to make a move like Roy when we played Rune Wars. He tried to make a move thinking I was going to go do something because I said I was going to go do something. But I said that to plant a seed in his brain. So what did he do? He charged his guy straight into this thing. And I was like, fantastic. And I literally put shoot on all of my guys because that one space was in range for everybody that had range to shoot at.
Yeah, it was funny because your guys couldn't shoot for 2 rounds in a row. And so then I'm like, well, I might as well try now. And then they all could shoot me.
Yeah. It was great.
Awesome. So do you like games where you can build your own armies? Whether it be
Absolutely.
HeroClick type games or
I love it.
Whatever.
I love it.
Where you're building your stuff as you go. Or before
I love it. It's just another part of the game. It's like card games, where you can build your deck and stuff like that. I love that creativity, and I also like it because sometimes I just have like a weird idea in my head, and I don't win or lose. I just want to implement that idea. I just want to see if that idea can work. Like especially also when I play Blood Rage or other games like that, where like
you're building as the game goes along.
Yeah, but I just want to try like this weird new draft. I want to see if I pick this card combination, how well it will really work for me. Or like when we played Rune Wars, not this time, but the last time, I just wanted to try out some new units that I got, the crossbowmen and the elf archers. I didn't care if I won or lost. I just wanted to know, okay, how are these guys work? Should I invest more into it and stuff like that? So I love it. I love it. To me, it gives the game longer play value or replayability, just because the combinations when you're building an army, depending on the game and the support that the game has, can be pretty big.
For sure. Yeah, I definitely have a lot of fun. Like I grew up playing collectible card games, so building an army. I actually played a lot of HeroClix when I was younger too. Because I played HeroClix when it first came out, and it's been out for 15 years now. I am an old man. I am an old man.
You're not an old man.
Well, when you've played a game that came out 15 years ago and you think back on it and you're like, holy crap, I played that when it first came out. But HeroClix was one of the first games I played where you could build an army. I always wanted to play like the Lord of the Rings, like Warhammer game, but never actually could afford any of that. Like I got like the Fellowship or something like that, and that's like all I had. But yeah, it's fun to build the armies in the games and try to figure out how to min-max them and build them the best way you can to do what you want to do, It's like, hey, do you want to take a bunch of ranged units and try to shoot people across the board? Do you want to take a bunch of tanky units that try to like outlast your opponent and hit them really hard? Or do you want to take faster units so you can jump on their ranged units? There's so many options when you're playing these different games where you can build armies. That's one of the things I really like about Battlelore too, is that you can build an army before you start the game. It's a lot of fun in that game as well. But yeah, it feels like deck building, like you said.
Yeah. Battlelore's fun. Battlelore's fun. I'd rather play Rune Wars than Battlelore.
Yeah, it's more complex and it's a little less casual, Battlelore is very determined on the dice. Like a lot of times it's what you roll is just, but Battlelore is Memoir 44. It's the same game. So
yeah, but I think you're right though with less casual, because like where you're facing and other stuff like that really matters in Rune Wars. Not so much. Just matters what hex you're on. You know, in Battlelore, like where you're at type of a thing. So
and all your opponents immediately get to attack you back, so it's like if I whiff on my roll, then they immediately get to attack me back. I just ran into their swords, basically.
Yeah.
So it's fun though. I like it. So yeah, what theme would you love to see made into a head-to-head war game?
See, all right, not Monopoly Gamer. Sorry, Tim. I think he's talking to somebody else in chat. I'm really like stuck on this whole Matrix theme right now. It's been in my head for a while for a board game, but I think that'd be a great theme. You have the humans versus the robots, or you have Mr. Smith versus the Chosen One, Keanu Reeves. What was his character's name? Crap, I know he was the Chosen One. Anyway, I would love to see that. I think that'd be a fun head-to-head type of game, or also you could build your armies and stuff like that. I think it'd be a better Queen's Gambit game, which is also head-to-head. But I don't know. The thing about war games is it almost covers everything. Like outside
there's a lot of different
there's
genres,
a lot. Like I would like, it'd be a really fun war game, but it's not really a war game to me, but it sort of is. It'd be really cool if they made like a Predator game, or like a Last Friday, but Predator edition, where one guy is the Predator and then he can go,
they recently came out with an Aliens miniatures game, and I wonder if that's anything like that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But like the Tyranids and stuff like that were always sort of alien in the Warhammer 40K stuff, because they're basically the same thing as aliens from the movie. But yeah,
I would love stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're coming out with a Fallout miniatures game, which is going to be
that does nothing for me, and I like the games.
Oh yeah. It looks interesting. I really love the way the miniatures look. Looks awesome.
Now you got to play it though.
No, not the Fantasy Flight is making a semi-cooperative like story game, but there's another company. They're like Mobius or something like that. I'm not sure the name of the company, but they're making an actual miniatures game where you're actually like fighting off super mutants and death claws and all the rad roaches and weird stuff from the thing.
That would be cool. Jeremy Donlin in chat said a Greek gods war game. That would be pretty fun.
Is Hellas or whatever similar to that?
Lords of Hellas?
Yeah, is that similar to that? Or
I
that's
don't
more
think
area
so. I
control?
did back that. That's more area control, and it has to do more with Greece itself, and the fact that they weren't necessarily gods, but maybe aliens that gave technologies to them. Like you have the Grecians, you have the Athens.
What's that other game? There's another game that Mythic
But
Battles
Greek gods war
Pantheon.
game, that'd be pretty cool.
Mythic Battles Pantheon, I think, has a lot of that stuff going on in it.
Well, I know there's a Risk
so many
version that has the Greek gods in it, but I don't necessarily know if they're fighting each other. Tim, you should not have passed on Hellas. It looks amazing. The monuments went amazing.
I think
spent a lot of money on Kickstarter.
Trevor
this year,
did
guys.
Hellas, and also I know I think
Time travel fighting games. How cool would that be? Like a time travel fighting game.
It would be fun.
Eagles versus Bears. Boom. Adam, I love you, but no. Just
Blood
boom.
Bowl.
No, a time travel fighting game.
All I
did
want to
play a
say
time
is
travel version of-
Stranger Things Season 2, the war game. I don't want to spoil anything, but could you see that on the field of battle?
See
the field of battle with all the different characters.
Yeah, I mean, I'd play it.
I don't want to say
in a heartbeat.
I really want to say so many things, but I don't want to do any spoilers. So
Yeah.
But oh man, fighting the
They made a
Demogorgons.
Terminator game. If you guys have played it, let me know. I see some people in chat asking about Terminator. I know they made it. I'm excited to hear somebody's take on it. I know it was released on Kickstarter either last year or early this year. So we'll see. But Terminator, that would be fun. But like a futuristic Terminator where you're John Connor all grown up and like you have to fight back and like it's you versus the robots type of a thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So
awesome. So what would you say your very favorite war game is?
I can't
You
answer
can't
this.
pick just one?
I mean, do I go old school and say it's Risk or Axis and Allies because I love those games? Do I go new school and say it's Game of Thrones or Blood Rage or something like that? Do I pick this for a miniatures game? And right now, would that be Rune Wars? But I think that is going to be quickly replaced by Song of Ice and Fire. And definitely, we'll see Joan of Arc. It's not a miniatures game, but it is a miniatures game. It's more like a really big Battle Lord style game with a ton of minis. Oh my gosh, I have over 800 minis now coming in that game. And like close to 200 of that is all terrain. So cool to me. So I have several that I like. I can't name a favorite. It's like saying, who's your favorite kid? I love them both. I can't. What's yours?
If we're talking multiplayer, I mean, of course, my very favorite game is very warlike. There's definitely lots of war situations. There's all sorts of... It's a 4X game, so obviously there's all the different things in that. So Twilight Imperium is obviously my favorite. But if we're talking head-to-head, which is more of what I think of when you talk about war games, then War of the Ring is definitely my favorite war game. There's a lot of conflict and fighting back and forth in War of the Ring and trying to hold on to these strongholds and just barely holding out. And it is very much just like straight up dice combat. But you're playing all these action cards to try to fortify your different areas and get reinforcements and try to do the political thing. And there's just so many different ways that War of the Ring is an amazing war game. And it gives me that feel of being Aragorn on the top of the wall, like trying to get the men to hold on and trying to figure out how to rally the undead so that way we can take out some of the units because we're just barely going to make it. Or having the Treants march in on and take out the Balrog. That's pretty awesome too. But yeah, War of the Ring is an amazing war game, and Twilight Imperium 4/3 is a great multiplayer 4X game. So what do you think?
If I were to go off of that, I'd probably say Game of Thrones, just because it's my second favorite game of all time, behind Mansions of Madness. I just love Game of Thrones. It's just absolutely a beautiful, fun, crazy game. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping that Fantasy Flight is revamping it and coming out with a newer version that has new stuff. I know some people were talking earlier about the Legend of Five Rings, how it's kind of similar to Game of Thrones.
The new one that's coming out?
Yeah, like they have a Legend of the Five Rings board game coming out.
Is it sad that like I see that and I saw that? I don't even think we talked about it in the news.
I have no desire to play it whatsoever.
I was just like, I would... It makes me want to play Rising Sun. So I'm like, oh, cool. That looks a lot like Rising Sun. I'd rather play that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm
not attached to the Legend of the Five Rings universe like some people are.
And I'm disappointed that Fantasy Flight has not done more with Game of Thrones outside of the card game recently.
Oh, yeah.
And they do have that...
Sailors of Catan?
See, that looks cool.
I'm interested in trying that out.
They have their Iron Throne game, which I do have the expansion for that. But all that is a remake of the other game. Or a re-theme of the other game. What's the game? Tom Vassel's favorite game?
Cosmic Encounter. Hey,
yeah, that's all.
It is now Tom Vassel's second favorite game.
What's his first favorite?
They just finished their top 100 of all time. Spoiler alert, if you don't want to know, if you haven't got to the very top, plug your ears for like a second. But now his favorite game is I just lost it. It was there. Oh my goodness, why did I just forget?
I have no idea.
Chat's gonna say it. Gloomhaven.
Oh, it's Gloomhaven?
Yeah, is his new favorite game, which is crazy because he has played majority of it solo.
I played Richard the Lionheart this year at the Cool Mini or Not Expo. It was a lot of fun. However, they were changing the rules on us while we were demoing it.
That seems like what the demoers do a lot.
Well, and that's what. No, they didn't. No, they were literally writing the rules for the game. It was one of those demos.
Were you breaking the game while it was happening?
We were doing some stuff, and they're like, "Okay, we should change that." I played Innis. I like Innis. Innis is fun. The thing that hurts
so
Innis for me is the draft. The draft in
they are
Innis
coming out with an expansion.
They better, man, because like that 5-card draft in Innis to me is so underwhelming. So underwhelming.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we'll see.
Cool. Oh yeah, Nexus Ops is another fun, like super light 4X game. But you're like bug people attacking each other.
Yeah.
Have you played Nexus Ops, Rob?
Like a long time ago. I've got the old version of it.
Me too. I have the old fluorescent-looking version of it.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
I need to play it again. I haven't played it in forever.
It's like so simple.
I also like Fortress America. That's a great head-to-head.
I would like to play that. I've heard great things about it.
It's tough. It's tough, especially if you're the Americans.
Because everybody's on top of you.
Well, not just that, but you're limited on where you can put your guys out. Like, once you set up your initial defense, where you put your reinforcements is all based off of cards, right?
Nice.
And so, like, let's say you're just getting bombarded in Chicago, your reinforcements show up in Wyoming.
Oh man.
And then if they're all infantry, they move really slow. And so by the time they reach Chicago, Chicago's lost. And now you have this little army that's just sitting out in the middle of Illinois, not able to do anything. So it's tough, but it's still a fun game. Still a fun game.
Awesome. Well, that'll pretty much be our show. I do want to give away our Epic Gaming Night and Favorite Game Friday dice set we have here.
I need to get some of those from you.
If you want to be entered in, you have to have said something in chat. So if you're just listening to this and you haven't said anything in chat yet, just say hi, because I can't figure out who you are unless you've said something in the chat. But I can bring up the people that have said stuff in the chat. And
the peoples have spoken.
So yeah, if you want to be in for the dice, we're gonna pick a random person real quick. So say hi in chat if you're not, because we have a bunch of people watching everybody who I don't think have said anything.
And I would say those new Favorite Game Friday dice look really awesome.
Yeah, they do. They turned out really good. I'm pretty stoked with that.
Darth nominates Liz as getting the dice.
I sent Liz a copy.
You sent her some dice?
Yeah, because she patroned it up, right?
Okay, sweet. Because I was gonna say at the same time, I believe she deserves some dice, especially after sending me those minis.
You Liz, never told me about that, by the way.
I told you about the minis. We talked about it on the show.
I mean, you mentioned it a little bit. You never really told me what happened.
I even showed the minis on the Song of Ice and Fire because it actually all went down.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. It's been a while.
Remember the hurricane? It was during Hurricane Irma. And I was like, crazy. Please be careful. But my address is X. Send them anyway. But please be careful.
Nice. So Liz actually has some of the dice already, so she can tell you.
Did you send her the Favorite Game Friday dice?
I sent her like 2 of the Epic Gaming Night and then one of the Favorite Game Friday, because also, if you don't win, you can back us on Patreon. We have a dice level. If you back us on the Patreon dice level, it helps pay for the shipping to ship the dice out to you. But yeah, if you want to help support the show, you can get the dice that way as well. Okay.
Yeah, Liz is awesome.
Let's see who is in chat.
Not Emily, and I'm still very sorry for that, Liz. I'm terrible with names.
Cool. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Cool.
Whose name did I call wrong? Like I called her Crystal, or I called Crystal her. Is it Heather? I forgot her name.
Heather is my wife.
No, Jake and Danielle. Jake and Danielle.
Awesome. So pick a number in between 1 and 8, Rob.
Me? Between 1 and 8, 5.
5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Jeremy Dolan.
What? Jeremy.
What? So actually everybody can see the names right now on the list here. I forgot that if I did this. Yeah. So yeah, Jeremy, make sure to email me at epicgamingnight@gmail.com, your address. So just hit me up at epicgamingnight@gmail.com, and I will get these sent out to you. Hi, Pipe. Way to go, man.
Liz, how did you get your passes for San Diego Comic-Con already? You must get on the site like crazy fast. Because here's the thing. I've tried to go to San Diego Comic-Con multiple times. And every time I get on, like, that day they're sold out. And you're talking about 300,000 plus tickets. Like San Diego Comic-Con.
It's ridiculous.
Huge. It's absolutely huge. I've been to that convention center before.
Can't you just tell them, hey, I'm Robert Newman. I'm on the Epic Gaming Night podcast, and let you in?
Bro, no. Do you know how many like famous, like real people are there? Because they have all the panels. You mean you're not
real famous, Rob?
I mean, to my fans, listen, I love our fans, but no, like when they have the Marvel panel coming up, and you have, all of the different characters coming on and stuff like that, and they have the Stranger Things panels. Man.
Anyway, if you missed out on getting dice this week or weren't in chat with us, if you're listening to this on the audio podcast, make sure to check us out live at youtube.com/Epic Gaming Night. And we stream these every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So come and join us in chat. We're having fun. Crazy people talking about all the different exciting stuff going on in the board gaming industry and things we're excited about over here. But yeah, are we good for Patron of the Week, Rob?
Yes, we are. But I just want to say, side note, Darth, you're hilarious. I will not exercise any of the dice for anybody.
You gotta get the holy water, man.
If you haven't listened to it, go back to our Halloween episode. It was the week before Halloween. We talked about scary stories. Yes. So anyway, listen, our patron of the week, if you want to talk about war games, let me tell you about this war game that this person has won. And it's called The War Game to My Heart. and I'm talking about the none, the amazing, the awesome. I actually tried to look this person up on Facebook. And there were so many people that I could find with this name that all looked great, that I couldn't choose. Could it be them? Could it be them? Because they were like, man, all of these people are great people, and I want to be friends with all of them. I'm talking about none other than Chris Hokanson. Chris, if I saw your Facebook profile earlier today, you are an amazing person. I probably did see your Facebook profile because I wanted to be you. I said, man, look at this Chris. There was a Chris Hokanson in Canada, eh? And I was like, bro, let's go to Canada and hang out. First of all, great food. It's cold. I'm built for the cold weather. I would love it up there. There was Chris's Hokanson's on East Coast, West Coast. But let me tell you what. You know where Chris has really got it covered? Again, 100% of my heart. Chris, you've conquered the north, the south, the east, the west, the center region. You've got it all. I appreciate you. We love you, man. I do this show. We do this show because of you guys, and you guys are the ones that make this possible. And Chris, it really means the world to us that you're a patron and that you decide to put up with us. Our wives don't decide to put up with us. They're excited when we do the podcast. They're like, good, go in the other room, go do the podcast. But not you, Chris. Chris, let's get married. Not even in a weird way. Let's just do it. Let's just get married, fall in love, make love babies. Let's just do it. I hope you are having a wonderful day. I wish I could see you. I wish I could kiss you all over and over again. That got a little weird. Anyway, speak his name, buddy. That's right. Chris Hokanson, you're the best. We appreciate you. You are an honorary CFO of the wood chipping cologne factory that we've got going on. Thank you so much for what you do. Thank you for supporting Epic Gaming Night, and thanks for putting up with us. I don't know why you do it, but I'm thankful that you do.
Awesome, guys. Well, if anybody wants to help support Epic Gaming Night, make sure to check us out at patreon.com/Epic Gaming Night. And everything you donate goes to help make the show even better and makes it so we can do cool things like dice and things like that. If you want a pair of the dice, make sure to check that out as well over there. And yeah, thanks so much, everybody, for checking out the show. Make sure to check out our Favorite Game Friday episodes over on the Dice Tower and over on Instagram. We're always posting things we're excited about and such in gaming, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, I'm excited for next time. We're supposed to have Jerry Hawthorne back on the show. He's coming on next week, and we're going to be talking about Stuffed Fables and some of the other things
Stuffed Fables
going on with Plaid Hat Games right now. And so super pumped about that, and we may try to have another surprise guest the following week. We don't have it confirmed yet, but we love you guys. We appreciate you guys. You're all absolutely amazing. For those that are in the chat, you're absolutely awesome. We love you. For those that are listening online or on your mobile devices or whatever, we love you guys. Thank you so much. We are thankful for you. This is the month of Thanksgiving, and I am thankful for my friends.
For sure.
For Epic Gaming Night.
Especially thankful for everybody who shows up in chat. Y'all are the best. Hype.
And also, side note, Matt will not be here next week. For those that are asking for Matt to come back, he is going to be at a concert. Matt is not in prison. Matt is free. Tim, he is free to do.
Free Matt.
He is, yeah, heel Matt. Speak his name. Speak his name. For some reason, every time Adam has been typing that, I hear a guy in the background who's like semi-intoxicated. Woo! Speak his name. Yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome. He didn't even tell us what concert, Tim. He didn't even tell us. He just said, "I'm going to a concert."
Sorry. Just the thought of how much I love you guys takes my breath away.
Hey, Crystal. Was Crystal here the whole time?
I'm back. I can't talk. I love you guys so much.
Hype. I'm going to see you guys.
You guys are the best.
Peace.
I love you so much. So much.